and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Canon EOS photographer RandallMRueff. And let me start off this video by saying this is a new shirt. For my 43rd birthday, my mother bought me 5 new t-shirts at Walmart in Columbus, Indiana. This is the second new one that I've worn. I've still got 3 more that have yet to be worn yet. And it's very comfortable. It's a Hanes t-shirt. Pop my neck. And it's very comfortable. It's very nice. Very fitting. It feels good on my skin. And I decided to make you wear that because I like it. It's nice. And I want to say thank you to my mother. Now, let's get to the point of this video. The 5D Mark IV is coming. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's right. The Canon EOS 5D Mark IV is coming soon. The information is that it's going to be probably a 30 megapixel camera. The specs say it's going to be, let me see if I remember this right, 4K at 24 or 30 frames per second, 60 frames at 1080p, or 120 frames at 720p. So, let me say it again, 4K at 24 frames or 30 frames, 60 frames at 1080p, and 120 frames at 720p. So, by far not the best specs for video if the rumors are true. Could they be better than this? Yeah, of course it could. They already got the 1DX Mark II, which is the camera I would personally prefer to own, has better specs than this. But the 1DX Mark II is probably going to be twice the price of the 5D Mark IV when it comes out here. They're supposed to be releasing the 5D Mark IV information from Canon. Supposed to have some kind of announcement either tomorrow or 3 days from now. I'm not sure exactly when, but it's supposed to be pretty soon. So I made a video this morning talking about all of it in detail, but I just wanted to make a little more of a personalized video saying why I would not buy the 5D Mark IV. Now, is the 5D Mark IV going to be a great camera to own and buy? Yes. Is it as good as the 1DX Mark II? No. Let me say it again. No. If I was going to buy a camera, I would buy the 1DX Mark II if I had the money. Now, granted, I see why a lot of people are going to go for this camera. Because, well, it's not going to be as good as the 1DX Mark II. For the price point and the weight of the camera and the photo capabilities, it's going to be a good improvement over the predecessor. It's going to do 4K, which is what a lot of people are after, even if it's only 24 or 30 frames. You know, the 60 frames 4K is very good. The 1080p 4K, or 4K, the 1080p at 60 frames is really good. If you've ever compared a video at 1080p to on YouTube to a 1080p at 60 frames, you can see the 60 frames one, in my opinion, is a lot clearer and crisper and sharper overall. So 1080p at 60 frames per second is something a lot of people are going to want. And I can understand it because having watched videos with that 1080p at 60 frames, a lot clearer, a lot better. It looks better. Especially I know how to put it. So there's that. The 5D Mark IV is supposed to have 7 frames. The 1DX Mark II has 16 frames. Well, 14 frames, but 16 if you lock it up. I believe it's 14 and then 16 if you lock up the mirror, but basically 14 frames. So it's going to have double the frames. So I would rather have the 1DX Mark II. Now the focusing system is going to be about the same. The ISO is similar. It's basic. The extended range on the 5D Mark IV is going to be, you're not going to be using it. 99% of the people out there are not going to be using that extended range when it comes to ISO, whether it's a 5D Mark IV or the 1DX Mark II. Very few people are going to be using that. Unless you're into some military covert operations or police spy work or detective work or something along that nature where you have to shoot at night and be quiet and silent and people not know that you're there, like detective work and military types. And most of them are going to have some kind of night vision equipment. So unless you're using something like that, 99% of the people are not going to be using that 102,400 ISO. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be useful. I mean, I guess it's good to have it, but no. 52,000, was it 52,000 or 51,200? That's still pretty high. That's considered a standard rate on the 1DX Mark II. So for ISO, that's pretty high. I remember back when I was in high school, when we were still using film, of course, we're 1600. We could get to the standard film when we were doing the yearbook. I could get standard film of 100 to 1600. If I was going to do sports or something, I could, like in the basketball court, I could ask for 3200 film or 4800. 4800 was like the big, you're asking for a lot there, back in the film days. Of course, nowadays with digital, it's not a big deal at all. Now, my current camera, the Digital Rebel XT, only goes up to 1600 ISO. It's an older camera. I wish I could afford to replace it. I mean, it's very good at what it does. As far as that goes, I can get some really good, clear, crisp pictures with this in bright daylight. Pretty good, not as good when I have to use a flash. They're not always as crisp or clear, but it does pretty good. Obviously, it's going to do better in good daylight, but with a powerful flash, I can get some pretty good pictures with this at 3 frames per second. Now, this is by no means fast or good by today's standards, but when it's all you got, it's what you're going to use. I would love to replace this with the 1DX Mark II and the Canon 20-300 and a UV zero filter. This is a UV zero filter on a 20-300 and again the Digital XT with the battery grip. Of course, the 1DX Mark II doesn't have, you don't need the battery grip because it's the way it's made. It's got the good battery, but this is what I shoot with, and I just, I've got that 1DX Mark II lust in my eyes. Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. Stop. Look at my eyes. This is Canon EOS 1DX Mark II camera lust. This is what it looks like. You ever seen these eyes? It's a person that wants a Canon EOS 1DX Mark II. They have lust for the Canon EOS 1DX Mark II in their eyes. So now you know. This is good for good at doing what it does, but the 1DX Mark II and the soon coming 5D Mark IV, while it's not going to be as good as the 1DX Mark II, it's still going to do a lot of neat things, like the time-lapse features, the GPS built in. The big thing that's going to be is the Wi-Fi. Now, how good that Wi-Fi is going to be, how fast it's going to be, I would be interested to see. Without having I've never had a camera with Wi-Fi built in, or had a camera with GPS built in. So that would be neat to see if, instead of, with the Wi-Fi, I assume that instead of pulling out my card reader, hooking it up to the computer, I can just go from the computer, or from the camera to the computer via Wi-Fi. Now, is that going to be as fast as having a card reader? Don't know. In the past, when I've had the card in the camera and run a USB cable to it, straight from the camera, it was pretty slow as compared to taking out the card, putting it in the card reader, and letting it copy the files from the card to the camera via a card reader and a USB cable. When I hooked up a USB straight to the camera, to the computer, it was very slow. So, how fast is the Wi-Fi going to be? I don't know. I would love to find out. I would love to try it. I think for a lot of people, that's going to be a really neat feature. To be able to be tethered without tether. Ideally, you can be able to, in studio work, I think that's going to be awesome. So in other words, I can go in the other room, take 10 pictures or 100 pictures or whatever. They'll be on the CF card or SD in the case of the 5D Mark IV, because it has CF and SD. But it'll be on the cards, but it'll automatically be transferred to your computer, so you can just go in to your computer and edit. I mean, that's going to be awesome. I mean, think about it. Professional photographers go in, take a picture, go into the other room, and show the customer the pictures right away. That's going to be, for a lot of people, that's going to be a game changer. Because there are a lot of people that are doing that now, but they have to have it cabled. You got to be careful not to hit this thing or hit the table or hit the floor or somebody tripping over the cable, or some places use it. It's a good feature, but there are problems to having tethered cables. There's some benefits to cables as well. You have to worry about, sometimes you have to worry about interference, but overall, Wi-Fi is going to be a very good thing. It's going to be a game changer for a lot of people. Being able to transmit pictures straight to a computer or to an iPod or to an iPad or maybe a cell phone. A lot of people are wanting to be able to take pictures on a camera like this and go straight to like Instagram or Facebook or Flickr or whatever your service you're using is. They'd love to have something like this that had something like Wi-Fi that went straight to the internet. Well, what you could be able to do now is go from Wi-Fi to a camera to Wi-Fi to your cell phone. Then your cell phone can go to the internet. So you can have your cell phone in your pocket with the Wi-Fi connected to your camera. So it goes from the camera to your cell phone to your Facebook or Instagram or whatever, or Twitter or whatever services you program into it. It can go to. So I think Wi-Fi and the 5D Mark IV is going to be a selling point for this camera. More than megapixels. Because whether it's 30 megapixels or 60, even if it's 60, 60 is going to be, if it turns out to be 60 megapixels, that's going to be part of the selling point, obviously, because it's 10 more than the 5DS, or the other 5 one. There's 2 of them. So that would be 10 megapixels more than their current camera, which is 50 megapixels. So that's going to be a selling point. But I think Wi-Fi is really, without having direct internet access via a cell phone or some kind of cellular connection, I think that'll come to be eventually. The cameras like this are going to have a direct cell connection, so they can go straight to the internet. I think it's a matter of time. I can foresee that technology. It's just a matter of getting some company to make the appropriate, put it in the right way and do it the right way. The way that they've done GPS and now they're doing Wi-Fi. So it's, I foresee it. I don't think it'll be too much longer when you'll have high-end cameras with the ability to go straight to the internet via cellular connection or whatever. However, I would think cellular, but it could be whatever. Granted, there may be a small fee involved with that, which is kind of a downer, but either way, again, with the Wi-Fi, I think if you wanted to, you could probably go from your camera, take a picture with your camera, send it to your computer. The computer can send it to, again, to your Facebook or your Twitter or your Instagram or whatever program or site or whatever you want to send it to. But so I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a good thing there too. So you've got your pocket device, whether it's an iPhone or a BlackBerry or whatever. Then you got the computer option, and then you've got. So I think Wi-Fi is going to be a very big feature, and I think the 5D Mark IV is going to be the one to really bring that into the mainstream. I think it's going to be a game changer. I think when we look back at Wi-Fi, I mean, there's other cameras that had Wi-Fi, don't get me wrong. But I think as time goes by, I think the 5D Mark IV having it is going to be the camera that really sets Wi-Fi and cameras apart. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way it's going to go. I would love to see the 1DX Mark II or maybe the Mark III, whenever that comes out, have Wi-Fi as well. I think they're going to find that, like the GPS on the 1DX Mark II, this new Wi-Fi is going to be something that once people get a hold of it and get used to it, they're not going to want to go without it. So I think that's where that's going. What else? The touchscreen is still going to need some work, from what I understand. It's not going to be as good as everybody wants. Will it be improved over the 1DX Mark II? I don't even know about that yet. So I can't talk about that. But basically, it's probably going to be about, give or take, they're saying between 3,000 and 4,000. We don't know the prices yet. We don't know the exact resolution. We don't know the exact. We think it's 7 frames per second, but we don't know that for sure. But there's just a lot of things that we don't know yet, and the information is supposed to be released within the next day or next couple days, and we'll know for sure. Again, no matter what it is, I would still rather have the 5D. Over the 5D Mark IV, I would rather have a 1DX Mark II, because the only feature it's going to have over the 1DX Mark II is Wi-Fi. I mean, it's going to have some other features, but as far as the Wi-Fi is the only thing the Wi-Fi is the only feature I can see right now that's going to surpass the features of the 1DX Mark II. And for right now, I can live without it. I don't shoot. I don't, I don't have a studio where I'm shooting, portrait here and people come and look. I do, I go somewhere, I take my pictures, they're on the card, I come home, I upload them from the card to the computer. I don't personally have a studio where people come in and I say, "Ooh, look, I took them 20 seconds ago, they come in and look." That's not what I do. But for people that do, I consider that would be a big thing. So my point is, for me, the 1DX Mark II, with its low light capabilities and all the things it can do, would be the camera for me. Now, do I want the 1DX Mark II or the Mark III, whenever it comes out, to have higher resolution than the current 1DX? Yeah, sure, but keep in mind, I'm shooting with 8 megapixels. This is 8 megapixels that I'm shooting with. So if I go up to 18 or 21 with the 1DX Mark II, I'm going to be so blown away by that, I can't even imagine 30 or 50 or 60. Because I'm shooting with 8. So anything above 8 is going to impress me as far as, being able to do it on the computer. If I got the 1DX Mark II and I went from 8 megapixels here to 21 point something, that's just going to blow me away. I mean, that's going to be awesome. So having something that shoots 30 or 60 megapixels would be even awesomer. But overall, I'm still going to stick with the 1DX Mark II because some of the other features, like the speed, the low light, the battery, the GPS, just overall, the 1DX Mark II is going to be the camera I'm going to want to have over the 5D Mark IV. And again, the only feature I think is going to stick out that the 5D Mark IV is really going to have that sticks out is the Wi-Fi. That's going to be, I think that's going to be a game changer. And I've talked about that already, so I would love to have the 5D Mark IV. I would love to have one. Don't get me wrong. If somebody said, let's replace your digital XD with the 5D Mark IV, I'd be like, yeah. But if I had my choice between the 5D Mark IV and the 1DX Mark II, all day, 7 days a week, twice on Sundays, I say, 5 would be mine. Mine would be the 1DX Mark II. So there you have it. And until then, I'm going to have to be happy with shooting with my 8 megapixel digital XT because I cannot afford a 5D Mark IV, can't afford a 1DX Mark II. I am kind of excited to see finally what the results of the 5D Mark IV are actually going to be. I mean, I've seen a lot of specs and proposed specs. I haven't made a video myself based on Canon rumors of what the supposed specs are supposed to be, but what they're actually going to be, we don't know yet. I mean, we have a general idea of what they're going to be, but the actual specs we don't know yet. So, shouldn't be too much longer, guys. We'll know for sure what the 5D Mark IV is actually going to be and what it's going to look like and what it's going to be able to do and not do. And till then, you know, even if you got your digital XT, keep taking those pictures, baby.